We're now at steps 11 and 12. So we have 1 1/2 straps sewn on, and it says, with right sides together, stitch the remaining side panels seam to front or back. On outside, stitch the remaining end of strap to tote in the same manner as the previous ones. The picture here is really unremarkably helpful. It just looks like the tote bag. But what they're meaning is they want you to first join these two up, and then we're gonna stitch the last strap down. And I think what you're gonna find is as we're stitching the last one down, you'll find out why we put these in flat before we stitch the bag together, because this last one's gonna be the toughest, but we got this. So we're gonna match up this side. Again, seam allowance still 1/2 inch, because it doesn't say otherwise. Pin and sew. Okay, so something I noticed is my top is really off here. So I'm just readjusting that to even it out. If you have sewing clips, I actually like to use clips sometimes instead of pins. I'm going to move this whole thing so it's not weighing off the edge of the table, because I don't know if you saw that there, but it just kind of, the weight of the bag fell. Okay, so I'm gonna actually use the edge of my ironing board, and this is why the point of the ironing board is created, so that you can slide this, still open up the seam, take the rest. I'm going to turn it right side out. Pressed it again, and this is where so this strap, I need to make sure that it's not twisted, and then I am putting it here. This is going to be the hardest one to pin because you're trying to pin it but not to the ironing board. If you have a big acrylic ruler, you could slide it on underneath, just so you're not pinning through the cloth that you're.
Now we're sewing.
Now we're sewing. Okay, so this is what's difficult about this, is we're gonna have to, so see it's in the round, so we're gonna sew a little bit at a time, but making sure this never sneaks up under what we are sewing. I don't know if you want to come around back here to see this side of it. So what I'm constantly doing underneath is I'm pulling to make sure that this doesn't slide under the needle bed as I'm sewing. My tote wants to fight me probably a little bit more than if you picked a lighter weight material. I am for sure this doesn't look pretty on the backside, but it doesn't matter. So if you see it's really bunched, all you have to make sure is the next few inches that you're sewing is straight and only has the correct layers underneath. The rest of it doesn't matter right now. And I actually need to go around one more time because I did do a zigzag and a straight stitch. So, I'm gonna work this one. But I am going to take the pins out this time because that's been what I've been catching myself on.
Anything you want them to know about this part?
No, but I'm still not done with this whole step, so maybe we can fast forward it. You could also, so it might help if you kind of made your bag so you could see most of it on the top. That might help you sew one layer. There are times that I do have to kind of be a little more forceful because my feed dogs are not strong enough. If you have an older machine, you probably are faring better at this. Newer machines, it's really true, they don't make them like they used to. Again, most of my battle is because I chose this really stiff interfacing. Still not sorry. So I don't know if you can see, but only I can see this teeny tiny little hole that...
No, I cannot see.
It doesn't matter. Only you have to see that you're not sewing through multiple layers. Oh, this should be a lot easier because look, we're about to put all the bulk to the back. Final one. Got this. You did it! All right. You have most of a bag. So the last part of this step is to, with right sides together, pin tote front to back at lower edges, matching seams, small dots, and notches, having raw edges even, stitch again over the previous stitching. That was a really complicated way of saying they want you to turn this inside out. And they want you to sew along this bottom edge. They want you to sew along this bottom edge twice because that's what we call a reinforced seam. We do that at any place that has a lot of stress. So in the bottom of the bag, of course, that would be a place that we want to reinforce. Also, like in the crotch of pants is another place. We don't want these things to rip out. So we are going to sew along here at 1/2 inch twice. Yeah, I was getting impatient. Right. You're right. You're right. I'm gonna pin.
Well, I gotta plug your phone in.
As we're sewing along this bottom edge, the parts that will be probably thickest and hardest is where these two nylon straps or the webbing comes together. Nope, I'm still in zigzag. All right. Also another trick, if you want a reinforced seam, you can sew it twice like they're telling you, or you can actually turn your stitch length down a little bit. It'll be really hard to rip out, but it also makes it a little bit stronger. Okay, so I'm coming up on the strap. Again, I'm just gonna gently tug on the back to keep it going through. If I need to hand wheel to get it up on that strap, I can. One thing I noticed is that my machine liked to fall off the straps really easily, so I stitched it this way this time, and now I'm gonna flip it around and stitch it going this way. I will try to butterfly the seam open as best I can, but I won't be, well, no, I can't get it on the ironing board. So you just kind of do it with your fingers. But some of it may not be able to go because of how bulky it is right there. Okay, that's the end of that step.